that it's a really important time for audiences to think about the values that this country was founded on, and that the show is really more relevant than ever. And sort of similarly, do you have a lot of faith that, I guess what was described in the show as the great unfinished symphony, this American experiment, will survive whatever we face?
I think, ooh, that's
I was so
I'm
happy
sure all
you
of
just
our minds
started
are like
talking.
reeling on that. I think it does tie into your previous question. I think that that's part of what makes the show new every night. There is always a different thing in our political climate. So the day of the Women's March, the way the audience reacted was, I mean, especially during Skylar Sisters' number. Immigrants would get the job done, I mean...
And also the sequel, when you say about the sequel.
So the show continues to be relevant. You know, to the B part of your question, you know, I'm one of those people that believe there's this great scripture that says there's really nothing new under the sun. And I think that if we look at every major civilization and kind of what the history of that journey is, I don't think it's necessarily about it surviving in terms of like our democracy and where we are as a country. I think it's about it shifting. And I think it's about it becoming what it should be as it grows. That's why I love the line that it's an unfinished symphony. That this music and this history, at the end of the day, is a version of what came before, but sonically it needs to shift. So that's how we're dealing with it artistically, but I think that that's how we also need to deal with it politically. That we as to me, listening to some of the things that we listened to in this last, the last presidential debate, I felt like a lot of the conversations felt so reductive. I couldn't believe that I was listening to people banter the way that they were over some of the things that they were doing. I feel like as a consciousness, as a human consciousness, we've grown so much, and yet some of the things that are in place in terms of structure have not. And that's scary. It kind of goes back to what Renee said. I mean, she literally was like, I didn't think about the idea that I couldn't play this woman. I thought that I wasn't Nicki Minaj. That's because someplace inside of her, she wasn't thinking about race, and she wasn't thinking about, can I be this woman? It's a reductive thing to have to step back and deal with some of the issues that are in the forefront right now. So I believe and I pray that we evolve. I pray that we grow. I pray that we begin to listen to each other more so that we can learn from the mistakes. And when we tell the stories that have been told, we're not repeating the same things. You guys watched this show today and we just told you history. But so much of it seems like it's happening over and over and over again. We need to learn from our history.
Thank you all.